Hey, welcome back to the Michael D. Show. I'm so excited today about our guest. He's from Thailand. His book, Hell in Paradise, One Man's Quest to Search for His Friends After the 2004 Tsunami in the South of Thailand. Hugh Van Es is here. Now, Hugh, you've written the expanded, updated copy. Thanks for being with us on the Michael D. Show. Congratulations on the book and for going #1. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Michael. It's a pleasure being here, and to be able to promote it a bit more is always, I think it's good for everybody. So yeah, very excited to be here today.
Well, the tragic tsunami, it was globally impactful, killing so many people. And for those that are too young, remember in 2004, you had some very dear friends. Tell us the story and why you finally wrote the book and why you're doing this 20th anniversary edition.
Well, first of all, I mean, I started working for people that eventually turned into my friends. I was looking for work, found it in the diamond industry. A fellow Belgium, a year older than me, also from the province of Antwerp in Belgium, although a different city. And we hit it off. We became close friends in about 8 months' time, whereby, I mean, we worked in day out together, managing the diamond polishing factory on the outskirts of Bangkok. And then when Christmas time came around, so in the 8, 9 months that I knew him, we became really close, with his wife as well, as well as with my wife. And for Christmas holidays 2004, the factory was closed for 2 weeks. So giving everybody an opportunity to either go back up country or to have a holiday. And myself and my family, I have two kids. Back then they were only 2 and 5. So rather than fly anywhere with the hassle that brings, we decided to go to Koh Chang, which is about 4 hours east of Bangkok, close to the Cambodian border, second largest island after Phuket in the south. Whereas my friend Erwin, my boss and friend Erwin, and his wife Sabrina decided to go scuba diving down south. That is all we knew. They said they were very excited about going to the Similan Islands. So basically on the morning of Boxing Day, so the 26th of December, my wife and my kids and I, we set out to the east by car, whereas the day before, Erwin and Sabrina had flown down to the south already to then start, having their holidays down south and going, being excited to go scuba diving. So hearing then of the tsunami, knowing they were in the south, to make a long story short, I kind of then brought my family. We cut our holiday short in Koh Chang, even though we were only there for 2 days, having planned a 10-day holiday down there. But with them not being contactable at all, not being reachable, we decide, okay, let's drive back to Bangkok, and then I'll fly down to the south to go look for them, because the phones were just ringing, going straight to voicemail, and no further contact. So thankfully, the owner of the company, Jean-Paul Tolkowski, and the other hero in the story, was on his way to celebrate the New Year holiday in Bangkok. And he had then arrived a bit earlier on the day, which was the 28th then of December, 2 days later. He flew down to the south. By then we knew where they had stayed, and basically flew down, got together down in the south, and spent about 3, 4 days looking for them. Now, the second part of your question was, why did I decide to start writing about it? Well, basically, it was a traumatic experience, and every December that rolled around, you automatically think back. Most of the time, my wife and I went to the temple to just make some merit and put them in our thoughts. But other than that, you think about it, you can't help it. Sometimes it comes on the news, or you hear somewhere a reference, especially on the 10th anniversary. You have all the National Geographics and and the Discovery channels having an expose on it. So it kind of always kept me. And just even now, I mean, it's the 20th anniversary this year, and just those 4 days down there, I close my eyes and I relive the 4 days. So around 2016, 2017, already 12 years after the happening, I just said, okay, I can't just keep turning this around in my head. I need to start writing this down. And I started, and that first draft was just the day that we left on the 26th in the morning by car to Koh Chang till the 31st, till I returned back to Bangkok after 4 days in the south. And then I just kind of forgot about it. It's like, okay, it was written down. I think it helped in a way to just at least get it out of my head a bit easier and put it down on paper. And then I kind of just
Right.
forgot about it until a couple of years ago. My son, by then 16, 17, asked me, say, Dad, do you still have that story? Because I was talking about it with my friends, and we got to talking about it, and I remembered you wrote a book about it. Well, I said, it's not really a book. It's just a few paragraphs or a few chapters telling the story. But that kind of, I went looking for it. Luckily, I found it in my documents. And I read it again. It's like, okay, it feels unfinished. So I just put a beginning to it, put an ending to it, went through it a couple of times. It's like, okay, now it is something I'm happy with. So I sent it to my mom first and foremost, get her review. Then to, of course, Jean-Paul, the other hero in the story, and then a few other trusted friends and family, and the reviews were really, really very nice. So I said, okay, let's see what happens. So I just went on the internet, looked for publishing companies, and found Olympia. The first one on Google search was Penguin. I thought that was a bit overreaching, maybe too far out of my reach. So I said, okay, Olympia sounds familiar. Went through it, and the website is all about submit your manuscript and answering a whole bunch of questions. So I did that, and then didn't hear anything back for weeks and weeks. So I've already forgotten it, and then all of a sudden, in maybe 2 months later, an email in my inbox saying, "Hey, we accept your story to be published." So from the day I received the email to the actual publication, they took another year. And then we came to July of last year, 23, when it was officially published by Olympia. Now, the only negative review I've had since launch, or since publishing the book, has been that the story is too short. And as you could see, it's quite a thin story. It's just those 4 days, basically, right? And that kind of motivated me. Is like, okay, if people really like it and they think it's too short, then let me add some details. So the extended version that we are now publishing together, the 20th anniversary version, is basically an extension to the original story, just with more details, how we really, because many people would say he was your boss and you only knew him, worked with him for 6 months. Why would you go look for him? It's like, well, because he really became a friend. You work with somebody 6 days a week. It was really Monday to
Yeah.
Saturday. Office is right next door, really growing the company. Dinners after hours, whatnot, right? Playing ping pong during lunch. There's so many details that were not in the first book that I thought, okay, I think it might be interesting to elaborate a bit more, go in a little bit more detail, and also about the aftermath. What happened after the story and the few years after that. Also in terms of,
Hugh, I
okay,
want to share the review.
yeah.
There's a review here that really jumps out at me on Amazon. You mentioned the reviews. There's a ton of great reviews and feedback, but P.L. Smith in the U.S. says, I watched newsreels, which were shown again and again on television after the tsunami, but nothing came close in describing the horror the writer of this book went through in Hell in Paradise. It's available everywhere now. Books are sold, not just on Amazon, but Asia Books, Koinonia Books, everywhere you buy your books anywhere in the world. Hardcover, paperback, ebook, and I know you're going to have an audio book coming soon. This is the 20th anniversary, and I got to say, you've got Indo News coming out, Indo-Thai News. You've got several news pieces coming in addition to this interview. Why don't you give us a little glimpse of the interviews and what people have been asking you about on these shows?
Right. Well, the first thing that really got me excited was earlier this year, one of the most famous Belgian TV directors, Jan Verheyen, through the embassy contacted us wanting, because he was planning to make a documentary. So in March of this year, we actually went, we had a chat with him. He flew over. Went to the factory and had an interview there. And then, we agreed that both myself and Jean-Paul would be interviewed and then appear in this 4-part documentary series for the Belgian TV. But then in June, before he would actually come and shoot everything, he sent us an email saying, listen, because he wanted to portray the story of quite a few Belgians that were affected somehow, somewhere within in the tsunami, he said, we can't really interview you and Jean-Paul as well, because they were already interviewing Erwin's brother Gerrit. And if they would have interviewed myself and Jean-Paul as well, it might have been looked at that it was a bit too heavy on the part about Erwin rather than equal part to all people involved, in the documentary. So that we kind of missed out on. But then again, a couple of months later, July, August, I again through the embassy get contacted by a documentary filmmaker from the Luxembourg TV channel, the national TV channel in Luxembourg, also making a documentary about Belgians in the tsunami. And I did a telephone interview with them, and it went so well. They say, okay, we really want to involve you in our documentary, and we just got to find a way of how can we do this interview? And rather than just saying, yeah, we can do it online, as I just jokingly said, listen, buy me a plane ticket and pay for my hotel, and I'll be more than happy to fly down to Belgium and come and do it there. And I thought it was such a great idea. They flew me end of September for 5 days to Belgium. So that was great. And I just had it on good authority that the documentary would be shown broadcast on the RTL TV on the 17th of December, right? Then
You're an epic negotiator. You are, Hugh.
yeah, but I mean, it was kind of funny just saying it jokingly. What can come out of just trying to say something in jest. But anyway, then via I met an Indian fellow who is, the moment he heard about my book, right away set up this interview with Indo-Thai News, which was shot a few weeks ago, and where we already had a sneak preview earlier, and it will go live on Saturday, the 14th of December. So besides that, also being asked to join the new Belgian ambassador to Thailand, who's just starting his 4 years here, to for a dinner at the Belgian residence here in Bangkok with a few other Belgians that have been here such a long time, like I am, and that had some experience with the tsunami. So that was nice. So I guess I tried to promote it as much as possible by myself, hoping these kinds of things would pop up, like interviews here and there. But I didn't realize it would really be in December.
Well, we're very excited. Hell in Paradise is available everywhere now. And you know what? The expanded, updated version is available now. Congratulations for going #1 this week on Amazon. You'll be attending some book shows with me in Asia later next year, and some book signings. So we're very excited about it. And I think people everywhere have an interest in the story because, I mean, it made global headline news, and for somebody to be on the ground there and so closely impacted by it. I always find it amazing when an author writes for therapeutic, cathartic reasons. And I got to say, I really admire you because a lot of people have that need to process it and write, but they never sit down and journal it. And the fact that this is updated, expanded content, you've got new content in here, you got new photos in here that weren't in the original version. And if you're watching this video in time where you can download the ebook and scroll through it for free, you can actually read it for free this week. That's Hugh's gift to you. He wanted to do that for you. But we're very excited, Hugh, because this is selling in all channels. We're making it available for bookstores and libraries. I know you're available to speak. I know you're available for podcast interviews. You're available. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you, to have you on their podcast, to have you on the radio station, to interview you about this?
Well, they can just go to hughvanes.com where I have listed all my details. That probably will be the easiest. My telephone number is there, which is the same for my WhatsApp. So either WhatsApp, email, whatever, whichever way, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, just go look for Hugh Van Es and you'll find me, I'm sure.
Right there on the screen and in the show notes. Hugh, we're going to have you back. I know you've got other books you're working on. Did you find that once you wrote this book, it kind of created this creative writing edge? You kind of uncovered a writing muse that you didn't know lived inside of you, right?
Yeah, that's exactly true. I mean, I was working for the corporate world for 9 years, long days, while on the weekends I had penned my first book. And then when I stopped working there, I was, faced with, okay, months at home, right? And just having that first book published kind of motivated me to write my second one, which is about having lived here for 40 years in Thailand, originally from Belgium, came here as a 16-year-old, and you can imagine what kind of things I went through, adventures I lived, anecdotes I have to tell, both
Coming of
bizarre,
age.
funny.
Can't wait to tease that story and have you on the Michael D show for that story. So I got to say, I'm very excited. I was connected to you through a group of business people that highly respect you and have known you for a long time. And so check out Hugh's book. Follow Hugh, Hell in Paradise, amazing things. He's got an amazing platform as well, a business networking platform you can be a part of. So follow him, HughVanEs.com. Thanks for being on the Michael D show, and have an awesome day, Hugh.
Thank you for having me. See you guys around.